it's such a delightful little piece written by the composer when he was approximately 6 years old. It is absolutely gorgeous, and what it actually needs is a lot of shaping, because it has very precise slurs, and they suggest the rolling wrist motion. The first thing I do, I don't like just sight reading pieces. I like to right away, analyze each part. It's in two parts. That is the right hand, the soprano I meant, two voices, and the left hand, the bass. So you don't have a complicated scoring here or voicing. Now I would start with the right hand. Let's start with the right hand for change. I usually tell students to start with the left because I know it's the most neglected hand. But if you see any broken chords, I tell the students to block them out. And I do see, in F major, I see, which the key is the key of the piece, I see already the outline of an F chord, but it's in the second inversion. So it's not F, A, C, it's not A, C, F, but it's right here, C, F, A. So when I do block it, I use my wrist motion. I really want to feel very relaxed and just like that with a follow through. Now the student should notice that on the second C in that measure, you have a finger shift. So you have to play a 2. Now that's going to be the third beat, so that's going to be a much lighter 2 than we would want, that we might want to play. The third beat's very weak in 3/4 time. In fact, the second and third beats are weak. But the way he's written this is very interesting because you have 2 eighth notes to a longer note value. The longer note value, which is on the second beat, is going to automatically kind of come out because of the configuration. Now, if you actually roll out the chord and then you have the substitution finger here, you'd have this. And now you have an outline of the 4 chord, which in F major is B flat chord. And you would use the fingers and block it out that occur there, which would be 1, 3, 5. Be that. And then on the third beat you have a substitution finger for B flat, which is 4. And I do come forward because you want to lift the third beat. You want to definitely lift it. You don't want to fall down hard, as I mentioned before. So after the student, shows me a nice follow through of the wrist and playing the chord, doesn't smack the chord or stiffen up the wrist or play tight. And he's just going to go da-da-dum, bum. And then we're down to the root position of the F chord. And now we don't have a repeated note on the third beat. We are going across the thumb to an E. And then we would be like an appoggiatura, because we have an E, which is harmonized against a tonic, like a dominant against a tonic, resolving to the F. There's a dissonance. Now the next, that's phrase 1. And when you get to phrase 2, you have a different motion. There's a certain motion that's we become conditioned to in this, which is this. Now he's going the other direction. He's going up through an arpeggio. And then the student can block this, and then the third beat is the substitution. I'm just going to accelerate the process a little bit. Now here, there is no finger switch. I'm trying to think if I would do that. Yes, I would. And you can put a finger switch here, but I would do on the last beat of 3. Go from an A5 to an A3. So you start with 1, 2, 4. 1, 3, 5. With 3. You definitely don't want to be hammering, like a drill into those, riveter kind of repeated notes. So changing the fingering does allow you to change the nuance for the color of the note. Now it has a dominant 7 of F major, and the choice of fingering, I think 1, 2, 3, 5 is nice. It's just as well as 1, 2, 4, 5. You can do either one. Let's see what works better. I think 1, 2, 3, 5 works. And then you have another suspended note that will clash until it resolves. So the student should be aware of these dissonances that are resolving, and you don't want to smack them. But that pretty much takes care of the first part, and then the student can go over the whole thing after he blocks. It's much like the opera, because Mozart was very operatic, and even probably at 6, he had a sense of the opera too. Now, in the next part, you have like a little development section, because the composer goes to a secondary dominant. Actually, he goes to the 7th chord of G minor, which G minor is a 2 chord, but he does, we could say secondary dominant or diminished of it. This would be the lean one. This would be the resolved. He does this, and he does it again, all through G minor. Now the sequence occurs, the G minor chord having 2 roles as a pivot chord, and it goes down to F major and below F major. So essentially he's doing a secondary of the G minor for a while, and then a secondary of the F major. And the secondary doesn't have to be dominant, it could be a diminished chord, or it could be diminished chord is 1 skip short of a dominant, as you can see. Actually, he does fill it in as a dominant here. There's your dissonance, your poggiatura, whatever you want to call it. Usually a poggiatura is approached by a leap and then resolved by a step. So technically speaking, you want to get technical about it. So I think the important thing is that he's transitioned to the G minor, and then he's going to eventually take the G minor down and dominant back to the home key. The student needs to know there's 2 keys involved here. Now we're back to the beginning idea, so you can go back to whatever the student did in the beginning in terms of the blocking. I'm just speeding it up. I'm doing the same blocking. Now there's something very, very different that occurs in the last line. It is a deceptive cadence, which means there's a dominant of F major to the 6th chord of F major. And that is so beautiful there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Here it comes with that dissonance resolution to the 6th. Now he's happily back to F major. To the 4 chord. And again, the dissonance, which he loves in this piece. The left hand should be done separately as a bass line. So you have follow the bass. And you can use solfeggio. I'm a big one for solfeggio. I like to teach students solfeggio right away because do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti can take the student into different harmonic realms very easily, and that the movable do allows them to, they're in G minor for so many measures, then G becomes the do. And if they're back in F major, then F is back to the do. And it's a movable do, and it's very good. And I'm always using solfeggio when I learn. So you have, this is do. Do, to, mi, fa, fa, sol, sol, do, sol, do. Then sol, 2, 3, sol, 2, 3, sol, ti, do, sol, re, sol. And we should know that. Now here's where the F sharp in the development section, I call it, is like a little development in the middle, becomes T because you're dealing with G minor. Usually the composer will use the harmonic form, which indeed he does, which you raise the 7th note. So you get T, 2, 3, do, 2, 3, fa, sol, sol, do, sol, do. Now we're back to F major. This becomes, and there's your sequence. Ti, do, fa, sol, sol, do, sol, do. Now you're back to the beginning. Mi, 2, 3, fa, 2, 3, sol, sol, la. And there's that 6th chord. Mi, 2, 3, fa, 2, 3, sol, sol. Is that stiff C on my piano? Sol, do, sol. needs to know that line, as if the cello was playing it. When you put it together, then the next issue is balance. And student wants to bring out the right hand, because clearly it's the soloist. Now you have the rolling motion that, when the student did this, he's not going to forget that. He's not going to start, typewriting these notes out, but he's going to shape them